headlines, sorting through the media bias, exposing the propaganda, and challenging you to use your brain. It's time to tap into the truth.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed time to tap into the truth. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Tonight, I initially had hoped to discuss items involving the continuing embarrassments and fallout from the Mandela Memorial, the international hubbub over the selfie, and now the continuing embarrassment that keeps coming from the sign person that just didn't seem to know sign language and, well, as it turns out, has a plethora of psychological issues, has faced murder charges and all these other wonderful stuff, but I guess we'll have to come back to it because unfortunately there were big breaking news stories today that are more pressing and probably more important for us to take a look at. First of all, there was another high school shooting, this time in Colorado. We'll take a look at that. We'll discuss it briefly. There was the foiled bombing plot in Wichita, in Kansas. The target, the Wichita Airport. And, of course, the case of affluenza. Not real sure when this particular affliction started hitting Americans, probably some time ago. At least if you listen to the doctor, the psychiatrist, or psychologist, we'll take a closer look at that as well, that's been taking a look at the young man who not only managed to be asinine enough to go with the affluenza defense, but the judge bought it. And that happened in Texas. At any rate, before we get into all of that, I'd like to remind everybody, if you are looking for another way to consume this broadcast, you can find us on Stitcher.com. You can also find us at TuneIn.com. And you can find us on iTunes. Also, FYI, we have broken the 100 followers mark, so there is one of the major obstacles that sit between us and iHeartRadio. So hopefully very soon we'll go ahead and make our pitch for that after I get back in the swing of things and get a little more consistency with the broadcasting here. Also, FYI, I made the announcement last time. Would like to remind everyone still that the music, the bumper music on the show now is being provided through Magnatune, service that provides the opportunity for independent music artists, everybody that's off the big labels, to have their music showcased, and in the process, everything is made podcast safe. It is a concern for those of us in the podcast business because those of us, particularly in talk or music, we want to be legal, but we also want to make sure that we're not taking advantage of artists and people that would help to make this happen for us. Ultimately, if we're showcasing talent, we want that talent to be duly noted. And so from now on, I'm using Magnatune. It's for indie services. And of course, there are other ways to go about getting the rights to use different bumper music. You can go the traditional routes and pay the royalties and all that wonderful stuff. You can find some that are just given away for free for the purposes. And in this particular case, like what I'm doing, I'm using Magnatune. I'm paying a fee once every 3 months, making sure that the artists involved are getting paid something. They're getting their royalties by virtue of the use, and then I get the licensing. And it works out all the way around. Now, with all that having been said, as we spiral towards the Christmas holiday, I hope everybody is having a very Merry Christmas season. although that obviously is just not the case. And the reason we know that's not the case is because there are stories like the ones we'll be talking about tonight. And we are starting with the Colorado shooting. As it turns out, in case you were living under a rock all day long and didn't hear any of this, a student armed with a shotgun and possibly seeking revenge against a teacher shot 2 students at a Colorado high school today, Friday, December 13th, 2013, and did so before apparently killing himself. This according to the police. One student, a 15-year-old girl, was listed in critical condition at an area hospital. Arapahoe County Sheriff Grayson Robinson said that the other suffered a minor shotgun wound and was released from the hospital later Friday night. Robinson also told the news conference 2 Molotov cocktails were found on the scene. One had been detonated, releasing a significant amount of smoke, and the second was not deployed and rendered safe. He gave no details on where the devices were found or detonated. Police did not release the name or age of the student who died from the apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. His body remained inside the school up until the time of this report. Robinson said that the initial investigation pointed towards what may have been some controversy or disagreement between the student and teacher. We believe his motive may have been a reaction to that. He said that after the student entered the high school at approximately 12:30 p.m. Local time, near the student parking lot, he asked for the teacher by name. The teacher, he said, made a wise tactical decision by choosing to leave the building in hopes of drawing the armed student outside. Robinson said he did not know if the student was enrolled in the teacher's class. Although authorities initially said they believed the student who suffered critical wounds had confronted the gunman, Robinson said it now appears the student was simply in the area of the shooter and was shot. He said that the gunman's body was found in the interior of the building in a classroom that he had apparently killed himself. Several other places related to the shootings were being investigated, he added. These included the shooter's car, the home he lived in, and a second home that he had some level of access to. A video shot from a helicopter showed students leaving the building in an orderly fashion with their hands raised. Of course, I think we've all seen that footage by now, if, again, you haven't been under.
No, it's still there.
Welcome to Wichita Affluenza.